Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. We have a musical guest on tonight, D. Vincent Black, who will be performing a couple songs. Howdy, Vince.
How you doing there? Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for coming. We have an abbreviated hemp news segment tonight, and we'll be taking your calls and lots of phone clips. So stand by as we bring on our infamous dancing cannabis leaves.
I feel the force.
Right, we have an abbreviated hemp news segment for you tonight. First of all, the United States Department of Justice has issued a memo saying that they are going to prosecute people who sell cannabis in dispensaries and potentially even state officials who issue permits to dispensaries to sell cannabis. The United States government, through a memo by the Assistant Attorney General, has said they're going to prosecute dispensaries. In the state of Maine, the governor there has signed a new law that expands patient privacy and employment rights for medical marijuana patients and protects their dispensaries. They in the state of Vermont are challenging the federal government's attempt to crack down on dispensaries. There's new scientific studies out that show that cannabis causes cell death or apoptosis of liver fibrosis cells. So cannabinoids will help potentially wipe out liver fibrosis cells. You'll find out more about that on our show next week. Also, a new study shows that it inhibits Hutchinson's disease in mice models. So there's a lot of interesting news out there, but we're going to jump over. We've got a musical guest. It's D. Vincent Black. Welcome again to the show, Vince.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Yesterday morning, they let me know you were gone. Well, Suzanne, the plans they made put an end to you. I walked out this morning and I wrote down this song. I just can't remember who to send it to. I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you again. Won't you look down upon me, Jesus? You gotta help me make a stand. Just gotta see me through another day. My body's aching and my time is at hand. Just wanna make it any other way.
Tell them to get rolling. It's ready.
I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you again. Well, I've been walking my mind to an easy time, my back turned towards the sun. Lord knows when a cold wind blows, it'll turn your head around. Well, there's hours of time on a telephone line to talk about things to come. Sweet dreams and flying machines in pieces on the ground. I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you, baby, one more time again now. Thought I'd see you one more time again. There's just a few things coming my way this time around now. Thought I'd see you fire and rain. Thank you, James Taylor.
Yeah, well, thank you. And that's D. Vincent Black with the James Taylor hit Fire and Rain. Great rendition. Thank you, sir. Hey, we're taking your phone calls tonight. I'm the sole host. We're all recuperating from our big Hempstead Festival over the past weekend, and so you can call us at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448 if you have a question about ending adult marijuana prohibition, restoring industrial hemp, or helping medical marijuana patients. That's what this show's all about. And so we had a great Hempstead Festival in Eugene, Redmond, and Portland over the past 4th of July weekend, and our petition drive is going strong as well. We have topped 19,100 signatures as of the 7th of July. So we still have a full year to go in gathering those petitions, almost to the day. There's the website for it. It's cannabistaxact.org. What the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act will do is it would legalize and regulate the sale of marijuana. It would legalize unregulated cultivation of industrial hemp and allow people to grow their own without a license or fee or any artificial limit. It would license farmers to produce cannabis for sale through state licensed and contracted stores. It would generate a lot of money and restore public safety at a time when government is looking for funding and we're in a budgetary crisis. Now is a good time to quit wasting money on incarcerating nonviolent, peaceful, law-abiding, tax-paying cannabis smokers and users. And so that's what our initiative can do. It would allow law enforcement to concentrate resources on violent crime and theft and not waste resources. And it would take a large funding source away from drug gangs and cartels. They say that the drug cartels derive more than 2/3 of their revenue from cannabis sales, so we'll take that money out of their hands and put it into our economies and help fund our schools and our police and reorient our public justice policy. So to find out more about that, you can go to our website at cannabistaxact.org. I'm happy to say right now we're at 19,111 signatures as of the morning of the 7th, yesterday morning, 7th of July. We need 87,232 valid registered Oregon voter signatures to qualify for a vote. We have until next July 2012 to gather those. Though at the rate we're going, we hope to set a record for the earliest initiative to qualify for the ballot in history, and that record is within reach for us. We really need to turn in about 130 to 140,000 total signatures so that we have a buffer of about 50% greater than the actual number of signatures that are needed, because often people who sign initiatives do so illegibly, so they can't be validated. The Oregon Secretary of State does a statistical sampling of signatures and then says whether the initiative qualifies or not. So we think we need to turn in about 135,000 signatures. So at this point, we're at 19,100. And so you can actually go on the internet and print that initiative out at our website. You can print it out and sign a single signature sheet and mail that back into our office on Sandy Boulevard. And so you can also go there and make a donation to our drive for the ballot. We're paying petitioners. Right now we've got 22 paid petitioners in the street. We've gone from having the equivalent of 3 full-time people, and now we've increased our signature drive. So we just started hiring as of the 1st of this month, July, 22 people total out in the streets. We've got a phone call though. Welcome to our show, caller.
Yeah, hey, how's it going?
Very well, how are you?
Good, I'm just curious, I just missed what you said. You said you wanted to take the money out of whose hands and put it into
drug cartels and the black market. And then what it would do, what our initiative would do, would license people to grow cannabis. It would equitably distribute the license among all applicants, so no one big, large corporation would have a monopoly. It's kind of the way the tobacco allotments are handled for tobacco sales. You'll see farmers that grow 500 acres and they'll have 1 or 2 acres under cultivation with a tobacco allotment and make more off their 1 or 2 acres of tobacco than they do off the other hundreds of acres of other vegetable produce.
I just want to make sure that you guys aren't trying to make it illegal so the government can take all the money instead of the families.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. Just the opposite. We want to see it equitably distributed in the hands of all people. In fact, we also mandate that all strains of cannabis be treated as hemp and not regulated. So the sales of seeds and starts of all varieties of cannabis will be legally traded without a permit to those over the age of 21. And so it's actually, and some of the proceeds from the sale of cannabis, 2% would go to fund state commissions to promote hemp biodiesel, with 1% in biodiesel fuel production from hemp seeds and ethanol production from hemp biomass. Another 1% would go to promote hemp food from the seeds and hemp fiber from the stalks. So what we'd like to do is see that, I really believe the reason cannabis was illegal was to protect the petrochemical industry. I'd like to see some of the money from the sales of marijuana to adults go to reestablish the hemp industry and put Oregon on the cutting edge of that. So that's what we're trying to do. And we urge you to support us. Go to that website at cannabistaxact.org. Like I said, you can print out the petition, or you can make a donation, or if you're interested in gathering signatures, you can fill out the volunteer form and we'll mail you out a petition pack. You can also come into our office at 2712 Northeast Sandy Boulevard. We're starting to staff that during working hours, so we'll be there 9 to 5 Monday through Friday at 2712 Northeast Sandy Boulevard. So that's
all right, thanks a lot.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
If you have a question for us tonight, it is July 8th, 2011, show number 591 for our series. You can call us at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. And we will be taking your calls right up to the top of the hour. We have a great film clip here. I want to warn you, though, that it has some disturbing footage from actual drug raids that have taken place where and there you will see violence perpetrated here against the victims of these drug raids. And it's a very moving and powerful video. I'm sure you won't forget. It's called, well, you'll see it in just a moment. Here it comes.
We have increased the amount of money for handling the problem of dangerous drugs 7-fold. It will be $600 million this year. More money will be needed in the future. I want to say, however, that despite our budget problems, to the extent money can help in meeting the problem of dangerous drugs, it will be available. This is one area where we cannot have budget cuts, because we must wage what I have called total war against public enemy number one in the United States, the problem of dangerous drugs.
It's a no-knock raid, don't be afraid. We'll shoot your dogs in front of your kids, 'cause we are the SWAT. We're here for your part and all the cash that you've got. We are adrenaline junkies taking orders from the top. KGB and the DEA, they'll make you disappear like in Guantanamo Bay. In the middle of the night, you'll have nothing to say. If we get the wrong address, it doesn't matter anyway. We'll still get our kicks, we'll still have our fun. Yeah, we are the SWAT, we are adrenaline junkies till the drugs are all gone. It's a no-knock raid, don't be afraid. Paramilitary police state on parade. It's a no-knock raid, don't be afraid. You do the time for your victimless crime. It's a no-knock raid. It's a no-knock raid. Don't be afraid. You shoot my dog! You shoot the fucking dog! Oh my God! This is a war, and this is your fate. We are the face of your new police state. We are the law, and we've got the guns. Statutory power, mandatory minimums. We are the SWAT, we're here for your part and all the cash that you got. We are adrenaline junkies taking orders from the czar. It's a no-knock raid, don't be afraid. Paramilitary police state on parade. It's a no-knock raid, don't be afraid. You do the time for your victimless crime. And it's a no-knock raid. It's a no-knock raid, don't be afraid. Paramilitary police state on parade. Flash bang on the ground, don't hear a sound. Could be you, could be the mayor of your town. And it's a no-knock raid. It's a no-knock raid, don't be afraid.
All right, so that was Lindy from No Knock Raid, produced by Reason TV. I'd like to welcome Madeline Martinez on the show.
Thank you,
that's
Paul.
exactly one of the main reasons we're in this, just to stop that kind of travesty and let the police concentrate on real criminals. I guess that last fellow that they killed, they shot him 67 times. He just 2 hours before his murder there, he had gotten off a 12-hour work shift in a Phoenix, Arizona office, and he was asleep on the couch when the police kicked in the door, as you saw, and shot him 67 times. An Iraq War veteran, honorably decorated Marine. And the other travesties in that film show one of the main things that motivates us to work to end adult cannabis prohibition so that law enforcement resources can be used against truly dangerous people, and the adrenaline junkies taking orders from the czar are defunded and reassigned to something where they can't hurt people.
Yeah, that's the sad part, that we have to look at these things, because even though you want to turn away in horror, you have to understand that it's not just about us getting high. This is life and death. People are dying every day for marijuana just because they choose to use a plant. And the tragedy that this man went to defend our country and got shot in his own country, in his own living room.
And the fellow right there before, you saw him, he just opened the door and was shot right in the chest. It was just horrific, you know, things like that are horrific. But I'd like to welcome Madeline Martinez of the Cannabis Cafe. I know you're operating your business there on 82nd, and things are going pretty well.
Yeah,
you're about
the
to start
world
streaming on
on
a
U
channel?
Network. We're about to start streaming on the U Network. We're up right now on Ustream, and we have live act. Dawn is often on our stage performing for us, and some days he's channeling Jimi Hendrix. So it's a wonderful experience.
Did a pretty good job on Jim Taylor a while ago. I know he's going to play an electric song afterward. I don't know if it's going to be a Hendrix tune or what.
I don't know. He'll surprise us. Okay. But it's always great. He's a great performer. We've got a bunch of great performers. If you'd like to come in, on Thursday we do live karaoke with just our cannabis community. And on Friday nights we have our live jam with, it's kind of an open jam. Different bands, different local artists come up and play. Tonight we're going to have Riley Gear. I'm not familiar with Riley, but I hear he's really good. He's a local artist with Gear Music as well. His father and him own that. And we just always have Billy Bradford's there tonight. His dad was Bobby Bradford, and he is Bobby Bradford, another great musician. And I think Billy played with a sang background for the Stylistics. So we've got some real voices and great performers like Dawn, and it's just an amazing evening. And on Saturdays we have the High Court of Comedy. Mm-hmm. So
you have people come in and do stand-up?
Yeah, we have local comedians come in and do stand-up. We've got some really great ones, and it's open tonight from, it started at, I think, 7, and we usually go till about 10. So it's a real fun evening for everyone.
All right. We have a phone call. Welcome to the show, caller.
Hi.
Howdy.
I had a question. I'm a Kaiser patient and a medical marijuana card holder, and I have chronic arthritis, and I was talking to my doctor, and he told me that because I have a medical marijuana card, he couldn't dispense any pain medication to me. And then I was doing some research about that.
And you're a Kaiser Permanente patient. Actually, the Kaiser system has told their doctors that they can work and even recommend medical marijuana through the Kaiser system. So I would request a different doctor, one that is more educated about the interactions of cannabis and other substances.
I can interject here.
Yeah,
I'm a Kaiser patient.
Right, too.
I'm a Kaiser patient, and I started working on Kaiser, or I've been with them for years before, but in 1999 I went to them, and after I've gone through 6 doctors, I finally got one that had the courage to sign for me, and I have a letter if you want to come down to the Cannabis Cafe and ask for me, Madeline Martinez, and I will meet with you and give you one of my letters. It's on Kaiser letterhead. And I think that if you find a physiatrist, which is a pain doctor, you can probably have some success there.
Also, Kaiser did the largest epidemiological study ever done on cannabis users. They had 40,000 cannabis users and 70,000 controls, total of 110,000 people in the study, and they found there was no higher prevalence of anything except bronchitis, that cannabis users had less cancer, less accidents, and the inverse of what many of them had expected. The only increased incidence of any condition was bronchitis, which, you know, isn't a great thing, but it's not deadly in and of itself.
Well, I'm just worried that that's part of the federal health plan that's coming, that they're going to try to say it's against federal law like they do to the veterans, and I just
think that's the veterans have actually changed their policy here in the past 6 months. About 6 months ago, the VA hospital system issued a mandate to all the VA doctors and medical centers throughout the country saying that doctors in states that allow medical marijuana can work with people, allow them to be on paying contracts. So that's a good thing if you want to go to your Kaiser doctors to print out that information from the internet about how the Veterans Administration hospitals run by the federal government have issued a mandate to allow their doctors and patients and paying contract patients to use medical marijuana in conjunction with their other therapies.
Well, that sounds great. And Madeline, when I come to your cafe, do I just bring my card with me, or?
Bring your card and your ID and come and meet with me. Ask them for me, and someone will get me.
Talk to her on television. That you talked to her here on Cannabis Common Sense, and she invited you.
For sure. We open at 10 a.m. and we're open till 10 p.m. Let's see, Monday only till 4 p.m. So come on out. Okay. I can leave one of my letters for you, or you can come and ask for me, and we can chat.
I believe that's at 322 Southeast Burnside Avenue.
No, it's 322 Southeast 82nd.
82nd,
Yes.
Excuse me.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thanks for calling. We are taking your phone calls tonight at 503-288-4448. We have another little film clip we're going to run from a series produced by the American Civil Liberties Union called Marijuana. It's Time for a Conversation, with the PBS travel documentarian Rick Steves of Rick Steves Europe. So,
yes, he's one of my colleagues on the board, advisory board of NORML.
Yeah. So I think you'll enjoy this clip.
As a former police officer, I believe that the prohibition of marijuana is one of the most ridiculous abuses of our allocation of police staff and money that we could possibly have.
The great myth of prohibition is that prohibition doesn't mean you control drugs. It means you give up the right to control drugs.
Of course, I don't want to find marijuana in my daughter's room, but I'd certainly not want to see her arrested and with a criminal record the rest of her life.
The most dangerous thing about marijuana is to be arrested for its possession or use.
Welcome to the program. I'm Rick Steves, travel writer and your host. I've found that challenging one's own preconceived notions and engaging in open and honest conversations with others is one of the beauties of travel. In fact, it's fundamental to good travel. Today, I'll take you and our studio audience on a guided tour through the history of this country's marijuana laws. Along the way, we'll learn about the fascinating people and events that are responsible for the marijuana laws we live with today. We'll also hear from scientists and doctors, police officers and judges, and people just like you who are questioning whether those laws are working for us or actually working against us.
I've been a medical marijuana patient for about 2.5 months now. I started using it because of the effects I was having from my chemotherapy and my surgery after my ovarian cancer was diagnosed. I have not taken any opiates in over 2 months. I haven't taken any of their prescribed anti-nausea drugs. Since I've been in chemotherapy, I've had chemo nurses who've asked me that I've told that I was a medical marijuana patient and have asked me for information because they've had other patients ask them and they have no information. I think there's a lot of fear among the medical community. I think there's a lot of misinformation. And it's, because it is the drug war. And a lot of people are just scared of touching it, just want to, distance themselves as much as possible from it just because of the legal issues.
Carolyn lives in one of the 13 states that have passed laws permitting the medical use of marijuana.
Well, if she lives in a medical marijuana state, then why are her doctors and nurses afraid to talk to her about it?
That's a great question, and it's best answered by one of our guest panelists. Joining us are Deborah Small, who's the founder and executive director of the national drug policy organization called Break the Chains, retired Superior Court Judge David Nichols, and Allison Holcomb, Director of the American Civil Liberties Union's Marijuana Education Project. Allison, why don't we start with you? Why would Carolyn's doctors and nurses be afraid to talk to her about medical use of marijuana if she lives in a state where it's already legal?
The short answer, Rick, is the federal government. There are now 13 states that have passed medical marijuana laws, but the federal government doesn't recognize them. In those states, patients that want to use medical marijuana are threatened and harassed by the federal government, and the doctors that would authorize it for them are too scared to. For people like Carolyn, it's a very big problem.
And it's really ironic because since 1978, our government has been giving, the federal government has been giving medical marijuana to patients.
All right, that was a film clip intro from Marijuana, Time for Conversations, produced by the American Civil Liberties Union of Washington, their foundation, about 2 years ago. And you can watch the whole thing if you go to our web portal, hemp.org, HEMP.org, and you can do /HempTV and watch it right there. That's hemp.org/HempTV.
Yeah, Allison's doing a great job in Washington State, isn't she?
Yeah, they've started a new initiative drive up there, new approach for Washington. And so their initiative would regulate the sale of marijuana to adults through the state liquor store system.
Yeah.
And so
we had our experience with that, didn't
and
we?
Rick Steves, yeah, we polled and found that putting it in the liquor stores was a negative thing for our impact. They had started with an OCTA model, previous Cannabis Tax Act model, but they changed it a lot. One of the things they didn't change, unfortunately, was putting it through the state liquor store system.
5 nanograms was a little...
in the bloodstream.
In the bloodstream, that was a little rough for me. So.
Well, you know, if you're, hopefully they aren't testing everybody, you know, because, I mean, a lot of patients might have that as a background level without even medicating.
Well, if they tested me, I could tell you for sure that would be my situation.
Yeah, me too. Me too. We have a caller. Welcome to our show, caller.
Hello.
Howdy.
Oh, hi, you guys. I'm glad you're on tonight.
We are too.
Say, how do I go about to find a grower? You know, preferably I'd rather be able to, you know, grow some myself, but I'm not in the position to. And so, because of all I've been hearing about the clinics, whatever, you know, I don't want to go rolling into one of those places. So, you know, I'm, you know, I don't know where to
it's best,
go.
I always tell patients the best place to start is with your family or friends, someone you know and trust who has a secluded spot. You have to be careful for thieves in this climate, you know, so you need some security. It's better, it's a lot cheaper and I think higher quality to grow it outdoors, but it's a lot less secure. And so that's why a lot of people tend to grow indoors. There are a lot more expenses with that. A lot more can go wrong indoors as well. But you can also have a harvest more frequently when you grow from indoors, and you can have a crop going year-round. Where outdoors, you're just going to get one harvest a year. So if you're not ready to have your harvest in mid-October, you'd be in trouble. So it's best to start with family and friends. Next thing you do is go to ask your family and friends if they know anyone who can help you. You know, and ask their family and friends. That's going to be your best network. What would you suggest?
I have a suggestion. We have a cardholder meeting at the world famous Cannabis Cafe tomorrow at 322 Southeast 82nd Avenue. And the doors open at 11 a.m. It's very similar to the cardholder meeting we had before that. And we have an opportunity to network. We give away cuttings at these meetings. We give away small amounts of cannabis for patients to take home with them. And, you know, we provide greenies and some edible cannabis for you all. But it's a great place to start because you can meet someone there that could possibly be a grower for you.
Oh, hey, cool. Because, you know, just like that woman who was on, you guys had her on film, because I use it to eliminate the opiates, my own self. Yeah. So, you know, yeah, I was glad to hear that.
I understand. Okay. Yeah, come on down. Tomorrow the doors open at 11 a.m. And we have a nice meeting. I think you'll enjoy yourself. You can learn a lot. We even actually raffle off. It's a door prize, really. There's no money involved. Big plants that you could take home and actually put into bud.
Okay, Madeline.
All
okay,
right.
you guys. Thank
Great.
you so much for your efforts.
Thank you.
Thanks for your call.
Bye-bye.
Hey, if you have a question, comment about ending adult marijuana prohibition, restoring industrial hemp, or helping patients, give us a call at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. We also can refer you to a doctor if you can't find a doctor who can help you get your medical marijuana permit. We can refer you to doctors all around the country. Just call us at 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. Or if you're outside of the Portland area, you can call toll free at 1-800-723-0188. That's 1-800-723-0188. We have another film clip, and we'll be back in just a moment to take more questions and calls. So stay tuned.
The following trailer contains real marijuana.
Legend has it that deep within the THC crystal of the marijuana plant, there lives a goddess. A goddess so incredible that meeting her will transform your life forever.
She's magnificent, glorious, beautiful, delicious.
I want to meet her.
You start with a strain like this, nurture her, worship her. When your mind is open, she will come.
When their leader is arrested, 3 friends will travel halfway across the world, plant 25,000 marijuana plants, and harvest more organic ganja than you and all of your friends could smoke in 3 lifetimes. Whoa, that's a lot of pot.
You're from America? Yep. So you think you can just come over to Europe, grow some weed, and make a whole bunch of money? Doesn't work like that.
All I know is, after how some of y'all treated the son, the Lord felt the need to hide his daughter. And he hid her in the most sacred of sacred places.
They have only one chance to get it right and to meet one goddess. Would you like to meet the Green Goddess?
All right, I actually have a small supporting role
Yes,
in
I've
this
seen
movie.
you in it.
And so it is coming out one of these days. There's another movie that's coming out here that focuses on the Seattle Hemp Fest and other things called A Normal Life.
Yeah.
And so that one will be coming out next month. And just last week they released Hempsters, Plant the Seed. There's another film that back about 2003 we had the film clips on and we were showing on the show, and Michael Henning was here at a producer school in Portland as he was in the process of taking his footage and editing it, and here it is 8 years later and the film was just released last week. So I've been working on the folks with the Green Goddess for about 5 years now, and theoretically it's going to come out sometime in the coming year.
Yes, we've been hearing
Time will
that.
tell.
You're
Time
always
will
so
tell.
futuristic, Paul. You're
I am.
ahead of everything.
I keep trying.
On the cutting edge. I like
trying.
that.
Yeah, our hemp news on our website actually started in 1991, so it is still the oldest regularly issued publication of news on any subject on the internet today, since it's been coming out continuously since 1991. It's the world's oldest internet publication. Back in the 90s, in fact, we won most of the major website design awards, including Netscape's What's Cool, Project Cool Sighting, even the British Medical Journal's Website of the Week. But we need to talk about the new federal HR
2306, and Barney Frank and Ron Paul are sponsoring it.
Strange bedfellows at that.
Yes, and the exciting part about this is you got to get out there. You got to make, I mean, it's not like we can sign a petition for this one. Call your representatives, call your congressmen and women, and let them know that you need them to sponsor HR 2306.
And
We've already called
Oregon, here, Blumenauer has been a supporter for several years.
Yeah, I did talk to him the other day at one of our Democratic events, and he's not really so sure about this one because he's always done it. And he was actually talking to me about being one of the sponsors of it of a similar bill where everyone in Oregon could grow 2 plants. I believe he mentioned 1982. And Blumenauer's been in office forever.
Yeah, I remember.
And he's got a really safe seat, let's say. So
he was on the Portland City Council before he was elected to the House. When Ron Wyden,
Earl Blumenauer's little bike.
Is that what that is?
Yes, indeed.
I remember when Ron Wyden moved up to the Senate, Earl Blumenauer came in and took Wyden's seat as the House representative to the United States Congress from here in Portland.
Jeff Merkley for president. That's what I say right now.
Right. Well, that's not going to happen this term. But hey, Gary Johnson. What about Gary Johnson? He came to our Oregon Hempstock Festival last year and gave a rousing speech. He was just published just the other day in CNN's blog saying how on their website how marijuana prohibition needs to end, and we need to recognize reality and legalize cannabis. So he's a Republican. I'm not in favor of a lot of his social policies, but he's standing up, and he could. He's a dark horse in the Republican Party, that's for sure. He's been cut out of, even though he's a 2-term governor, successful governor. All of the gubernatorial candidates in the Republican nomination race currently, none of them are popular anymore in their home states. But Governor Johnson still has about a 60% approval rating in his home state.
Well, the only problem with Governor Johnson, I really like him. I met him. He's a really nice person. Except, I'm not a one-issue voter. The social issues are huge for me. I'm a grandmother of 3 girls, and to go back to no choice for women. I'm sorry, but I can't vote.
Isn't he in favor of privacy? You're sure of that?
No, I'm positive. We've discussed it. And I'll never take women back to the dark ages. Never. Oh, you have a daughter.
I do, and a wife.
And a wife.
And a mother.
And a mother. Yeah, but they're probably not going to have an abortion.
No.
Okay.
No, but if they needed to,
the daughters may need to, and if we have to go back to those dark ages, no, never again, never again, ladies.
I don't think that's going to
We're
happen.
not going to the back of the bus.
Support the right to privacy and a woman's right to choose myself.
Yes, I support that.
Exactly.
And so, Governor Johnson, you're adorable. Not for me.
I'm for freedom of choice.
Yes.
In just about everything.
Everything.
We have another caller. Welcome to the show, caller.
Hey, thank you. I actually had a question. Speaking of freedom of choice, I'm assuming that the gal sitting next to you is your mother and that you guys are making love.
That's pretty bizarre, so cut you off, boy. You're a nut. No, I'm...
Too much.
Yeah,
Stop.
a little bit too much marijuana. A little bit too much, kind of a rude thing there. But, that's why we put our little disclaimer on at the start of the show. You never know what a caller's going to say.
You never know.
Where we warn people.
Jokers.
Content. Well, we
Jokers
try to
and smokers.
I recognize that guy's voice. He's gotten through before with rude, bizarre comments. He keeps trying. He's
bored.
Yeah, he must be, who knows? He's probably a federal agent.
Could be.
Could be a federal agent.
Could be anybody.
He's on the federal payroll. Well, if you have a real question for us about ending adult marijuana prohibition, restoring industrial hemp, or helping medical marijuana patients, you can call us right now on the 8th of July at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448.
Yes.
And we'll be taking calls. We'll do a little quick show and tell here with a single product tonight. This is methylated cough balsam. It contains no morphine or other opium derivatives. It's for cough, cold, spasmodic croup, bronchial cataract, and other diseases of the air passages. It's a 1920 air bottle. Here, let's go down. Here it is. There it is. It contains chloroform, which will knock you out. Cannabis americana, cannabis grown in the United States. Alcohol, 7% combined with menthol. So there is a full antique bottle dated from 1920 of what some people call a quack medicine from Clay Shaw, druggist and pharmacist. It's a product of West Virginia. We have a phone caller. Welcome to the show, caller.
Hi, how you doing tonight?
Real well. How are you?
Not too bad. I've watched your show before and enjoy it very much.
Thank you. We're coming up on our 15th anniversary here in October, and I'm hoping we're going to put the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act on the ballot before we make...
I'm hoping so, too. And, in fact, the reason for my call, I was telling the lady screening the calls, I'm a 39-year-old guy, and...
You're a youngster.
Have a bad back and never really believed in doctors, and the only time I ever did go to the doctor is when I was a kid and needed stitches. Usually on the Thanksgiving when we're playing basketball or for football out in the backyard there and cock a head or two, and then mom's always going, "Oh, got to go to the hospital." But anyways, I guess my statement I wanted to make was this: all these years, and I'm an avid marijuana smoker. My brother introduced it to me when I got out of the Army in 1991, and I've never looked back. It's the only thing that regulates my pain, and it slows my brain down actually long enough that I can focus better and retain more information. Mm-hmm. And I listen to the government, condemn, but yet they don't provide any proof as to what's so bad about it. And then when anybody
they
does
lie
do a
about what's so
study on
bad about it. They just outright not only don't provide proof, they lie about it.
Well, exactly. And then the people that are doing the studies that find out what the positive benefits are, as soon as that's mentioned, well, then it's shut down. And it doesn't make any sense.
It's all about money and politics and the further centralization of economic and political control. I really believe it's really about protecting the petrochemical industries from industrial hemp fuel. They've decided that a long time ago that they'd rather all of that money go into the capital-intensive petrochemical industry, and our farmers don't get the money. So when we pass our Oregon Cannabis Tax Act petition, not only will we restore industrial hemp, we'll take some of the proceeds from the sales of marijuana to adults and use that to reintroduce and promote Oregon's introduction of hemp for biodiesel fuel and hemp for food and fiber for paper and building materials and clothing.
Absolutely fantastic. And I tell you what, I think people are starting to wake up because, I've done my homework and I've watched the movies and before cotton was a big thing, well, guess what, people? We were using the hemp.
Yeah, that's right.
And magically, all of a sudden, somebody came along and said, and of course, I'm a firm believer that if the government tells you it's horrible and you shouldn't be doing it, well, you might need to be doing it then, because everything else that they tell you to do ends up getting you sicker, and it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate your call. We have an audience member who's got a question here, too. And
You bet. You have a good night.
All right. Thanks for calling. You have a good night, too. We have a studio audience member. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Howdy.
I had actually a couple questions. One of them was, how many card holders are there in the state of Oregon?
I think there's about 40,000 medical marijuana patients and roughly 21,000 or 20,000 people who hold caregiver cards. Those are individuals. So there are about 60,000 people who are licensed in the state of Oregon to possess, use, or grow medical marijuana.
And on a monthly average, how many new patients are registering?
I can't tell you that number right off the top of my head. I know there's a certain percentage, probably about 35 to 45%, do not re-register, do not renew. So there's constantly an influx of new patients and a drop-off of people who couldn't get the program to work for them. Like some of our callers mentioned, they couldn't find a grower to grow it for them. There are various factors that make the law difficult. That's why we want to see it completely legalized. I think the price of cannabis will drop down to the old days when I was a kid, $10 ounces.
That's one of the things that I'm so adamant about. After this program is 12 years old now, a dozen years old for medical marijuana, and I'm really sick of having to say that I want to medicate, and that's medicine. And I just want to say I want to get high, and I want to smoke pot, and I want to smoke weed, and I don't want to call it condensed medicine. I want to call it hash. And I'm tired of that, and that's why I want to remove all civil and criminal
and
you
it's
know,
really
penalties.
the way to help the
Bunch of
patients
bull.
in the end, even though the patients are a smaller
Terrified of
subset.
it.
Yeah, it's going to lower the cost of it. It's going to make it more easily. It's going to remove the stigma when we completely legalize marijuana. And I truly believe that our entire economy will reorient it back toward more local-based industries as we can produce hemp biodiesel fuel and ethanol in large quantities, in multiples of any other plant source out there. And that's going to stop the shipping of our wealth to these oil despots in the Middle East and other countries. And instead of having all of our wealth for our largest industry, the largest industry in the United States and in the world, the energy industry, go into the pockets of a few large corporations and despotic tyrants. It's going to go into the hands of the farmers and reinforce the vision that our government was founded upon, citizen farmer politicians who like the Jefferson ideal. So
what can we do on a daily basis to get our Congress or our Senate to start looking at
we can
these
call and
other
write letters
options?
and fax letters to the federal and state officials, and we can petition on the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act, or if you're, it looks like in 2012 we'll see votes to legalize marijuana at least in Oregon, Washington, California, and Colorado. So we'll see several states. I urge you to support those initiative drives. I urge you to write your federal officials, and most of all, educate your family and friends and anyone you can about the benefits of hemp and cannabis.
One thing I suggest is that you put the joint down, step away from your bong, and get involved, because each of us has one small voice, but together we are a giant roar that can shake the halls of Congress. So get involved today, because you know what? When you say government, that's me, that's him, and that's you. So you need to get involved today.
We have caught time for just one more short phone call. I'd like to welcome our phone caller to the show. Welcome to the show, caller. Hello, caller.
Is that me?
That's you.
Oh, okay. Good evening, and I'll make it really quick. I didn't get your hemp news, and I'd like to know where we are at on the raising of all the rates for getting cars and renewals, and I'll take that off the air, offline. Thank you.
Thanks for that question. There is a move to raise the fees on cardholders effective October 1st. There'll be meetings with the promulgation of administrative rules. So when those do you know when meeting notices are coming out for those administrative rules?
I really don't. No, I don't.
So we're opposing it, but right now it's been postponed to October 1st at the earliest. But we will be working at it. Stay tuned, and we'll be talking more about that in the future. You know, we are winding up. Is there anything you'd like to say in closing, Madeline?
Yeah, I'd like to invite you all over to the world-famous Cannabis Cafe tonight and every day and night. We're open from 10 to 4 on Mondays and 10 to 10 Tuesday through Saturdays. So come out and see us. We'd love to see you and share some cannabis with you. If you have an OMMP card and an ID, come on out.
And if we legalize marijuana with our Oregon Cannabis Tax Act petition, you'd be able to share it with any adult that you desired, and it would be free and like it's meant to be. And, you can support that by going to cannabistaxact.org. That's cannabistaxact.org. Or you can call us at 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. Or come right down to our office at 2712 Northeast Sandy Boulevard, and we'll be happy to help you. I want to reintroduce Don, or D. Vincent Black. He's going to play an electrical song. I want to thank you all for watching. Tune in next week and help us restore hemp.
I wanted to thank Madeline Martinez for facilitating this meeting, and Paul Sanford. I've been watching the show for years, and it's been doing good work, and I love it. Thank you.
Once was a sweet thing, baby, held our love in our hands. Now I see you're not somewhere. You won't give me the time of day, and that that's a cold shot, baby. That's a thing. Hey, hey. A cold shot. Being out of love, so bad. Remember the way that you love me. Do anything I say. Now I reach to kiss your lips. It just don't mean a thing. And that's a cold shot, darling. That's a thing. A cold shot.